Welcome back. All right, so 5 games tonight in the National Hockey League, and it felt like the preseason. It did. Makes me nervous about tomorrow, and especially about Friday. There's 15 games on Friday. I may have to come up with a different plan for Friday because the intensity level, which was maybe 75% a week ago, now it's not that. All right, and we're going to start off with, I think, the most glaring example, which is Montreal in against the New York Rangers. It was Montembeault versus Georgiev, and you name the star player, and the Rangers were resting him. It was not a very experienced lineup for the Rangers. The only other team that did that, I thought, to the same extent was the Kings over here, and we'll get to them. But yeah, the Rangers resting everyone gives Montreal a good chance. Brodzinski has a chance that's held. Dvorak then has a net feed that's cleared. The shots are one apiece at 5.5 minutes. Hunt has a rush chance that's saved. Rem Pitlick's denied and close. The Rangers get a power play. Hedel denied or collided with Montembeault. No harm, no foul on that or anything. It's killed off because no one's playing. I put that right on there. Like, yeah, no one's playing. That's why this was killed off. Rem Pitlick has a rush that's defended, and then Paling scores at 18:45 from Pizzetta and Lagesson. And the Habs have some momentum. So it's 1-0 Montreal after one. Second period. McKay gets a rush chance that's saved. The Rangers get a power play. Becomes a 4-on-4. So who scored during the 4-on-4? Well, it's got to be somebody with some speed. So it's Ryan Reeves. From Nemeth and Rooney at 4:14. That scored during the 4-on-4. Everything gets killed off from there. The Habs press at 9.5 minutes. Vetrano had an opportunity. He was denied. And then Petrie puts Montreal back in the lead from Dvorak and Anderson at 19:51. Jeff Petrie continues to have a very good run at the end of the season. So yeah, it's 2-1 Montreal. Third period. Rangers press at 2.5 minutes. 4 minutes in, the shots are 2-0. Their third shot on a turnover goes into the net. It's Vetrano from Gaudreau at 4:15. There were people that took issue with the fact that when I was talking about goal scoring depth and I didn't mention Vetrano, because not all of his goals were scored with the Rangers. I was going with these are guys who've scored these goals. Because again, sometimes guys come over in a trade and they may have, say, 18 goals with one team and 2 with another, which technically makes him a 20-goal scorer, but it's different. Anyways, moving along. Nobody's going to watch this. Anyways, Rangers had a 3-on-2 that was defended. There's a press by the Rangers at 8 minutes. It draws a power play. That's killed off because no one's playing. Hoffman then scores for Montreal from Suzuki and Edmondson at 12:08. That was scored on a rush. With 5:33 left, the Habs get a power play, which means the Rangers score on it. It's Strome from Gaudreau at 15:41, and then the Rangers finish off the kill. Petrie, though, he wires one on a turnover. Dvorak with the assist at 19:29, and with 30 seconds left, Montreal ends up winning the game. They go to 21-49-11. The Rangers 51-24-6 with the loss. The 3 stars are Petrie, Paling, and Gaudreau. Shots are 10-6 Rangers in the first, 10-5 Rangers in the second, 13-7 Montreal in the third. Final shots 27-24 Rangers. Power plays Montreal 0-2, Rangers 0-3. The hits were 21-11 for the Rangers. Montembeault saves 24 out of 27. Georgiev saves 20 out of 24. So, again, for Montreal to get the win, but good news, Montreal fans, with the results tonight being as they are, Montreal has the number 1 spot in the draft lottery. They've clinched last place overall. That's the first time that's happened to Montreal since 1939-40. Remarkable. Remarkable that they've avoided being the worst team in the league. And keep in mind, there's a lot of original 6 years there. They were never a bottom team. So, pretty remarkable run. All right, next up. Philadelphia and against the Winnipeg Jets. And I tell you, that gritty magnet, it suits today. So, Sandstrom versus Comrie in this one. The shots are 2-0 for the Jets at 4 minutes. Dubois couldn't bury one. Too many Flyers on the ice. The Jets get a power play, and it took 3 seconds. I swear the power play was at 5:19 and the goal's at 5:22. It's Dubois from Connor and Ehlers. So, you win the face-off, you get the goal. Nicely played. It's 1-0 Jets. The shots are 6-3 for the Jets with 7 minutes left. Flyers get a power play. That's killed off. Tippett had a last shift chance. That was blocked out. It's 1-0 after one. Second period. Good start for the Flyers. The Jets get a power play. It becomes a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 53 seconds. There seems to be a lot of 5-on-3s in the NHL right now. Ehlers then had a net drive. That wouldn't go, but the 5-on-3 eventually cashes in. It's Ehlers from Connor and Wheeler at 7:33, and then the Flyers kill off the 5-on-4. Power play then for the Flyers. That's killed off. The Jets press with 5.5 minutes left. Wheeler would score from Ehlers at 15:15. So eventually they get another one, makes it 3-0. With 23 seconds left in the period, Philadelphia gets a power play. That rolls over into the third, where the Jets finish the kill. Comrie then holds on to a chance for Hayes. The Flyers press at 2.5 minutes. Konechny has a shot that's kicked aside. The shots are 4-0 Flyers at 5.5 minutes. Wheeler has a net drive that's defended. The Jets get a power play with 5:16 left in the game. That's killed off. The Flyers rush immediately after killing it. And then with 2:44 left, the Flyers get a power play, which they turn into a 6-on-4. Farabee has a blast that's saved. And then after killing the penalty, Connor gets the empty net goal at 19:22. That makes your final score 4-0 for the Winnipeg Jets. They go to 37, 32, and 11 with the win. With the loss, the Philadelphia Flyers 25, 45, and 11. Your 3 stars are Comrie, Ehlers, and Wheeler. Shots 9-8 Philly in the first, 11-10 Winnipeg in the second, 16-8 Philly in the third. Final shots 35-27 for the Flyers. Power plays Philadelphia 0 for 4. The Jets 2 for 5. Hits were 9-6 in favor of Winnipeg. So it's not a lot. Sandstrom saves 23 out of 26, and still, I don't know why, but every time I always think Sandstrom by Darude, and I can't get it out of my head. Comrie saves all 35 shots for his first career shutout. Kudos to him. After all the bouncing around he did last season with waivers and all that, and with all the uncertainty around his career coming into this year, he's really established himself as a good backup. And with that shutout, with the 35 saves, his stats are getting better at the end of the season. Perfect timing. The Jets have some moves to make, some changes to make. I think their goaltending's just fine. It should be Hellebuck and Comrie again next year. All right, moving along. The Chicago Blackhawks at home against the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas had to win. Vegas had to win, and they had to hope that Dallas wouldn't get a point. All Dallas heard out of that was, so we just need a point, right? So, it's Thompson versus Lankinen in this one. The shots are 1 apiece at 3 minutes. Kubalik fans on a rush opportunity. Vegas wasn't giving a lot of room to the Blackhawks early in this one. Hawks press at 8.5 minutes. Kachuk has a chance that's held. The shots are 6 apiece at the half. So, a lot of the way through this game, the shots are really close. And by the end of the game, the shots are even. Seth Jones had a chance that was saved. I'll get there. Radish opens the scoring from Lafferty at 16:01. Lafferty's having a really good year for Chicago. Chicago's been a gong show for a lot of this season. Lafferty's quietly been good. And Radish has outscored Hagel. Hagel in Tampa, of course, playing a lesser role than he was in Chicago. Radish has kind of taken the role that Hagel had, and Radish is scoring at a good pace. Amadio ties it, though, from Theodore and Stevenson at 17:39. There's a last-minute press by Vegas, but Chicago rushes down the ice, and they gave Radish 3 chances at that puck in front of the net. So he gets the goal at 19:57 from Lafferty and Khrushchev. So Lafferty with a couple of helpers. It's 2-1 Chicago after 1. Second period. Vegas presses at 1.5 minutes. Pacioretty has a snipe that was gloved. Martinez would score to tie it from Stevenson at 3:57, but Caleb Jones answers at 5:03. So Chicago's right back in the lead 3-2. Vegas gets a power play. That was killed off. Vegas presses after that's done. The Hawks get a power play. That's killed off. There's a press by the Hawks then with 6.5 minutes left. With 4 minutes left, the Hawks press again. But Pacioretty would score from McNabb and Stevenson at 17:12. And so, yeah, for Vegas, they just kept coming back. That makes it a 3-3 tie. So they never led in this game, but they kept coming back and tying it. So it's tied after 2. Third period, early press by Vegas. The shots are 3-0 in their favor at 4.5 minutes. Vegas presses again at 8.5 minutes. Taves to Kubalik, near miss in front of the net. Shots are 11-3 for Vegas at the half. McNabb had a net feed that was blocked. Marchessault has a chance that's held. With 4:25 left, the Hawks get a power play. DeBrincat fanned on one and was cleared. DeBrincat fanned on a few. Like, he just, man. That's killed off. Thompson holds on to it and made some nice saves as well during that power play. We go to overtime. Overtime, Eichel couldn't bury one early. The Hawks rush, but Vegas steals it, so the Hawks take it back. There was some sloppy play in the overtime. Marchessault is a rush that's defended. Vegas controls with 2 minutes left. Petrangelo is denied as they press. Then Kane the other way. He has an opportunity that deflects out. We go to the shootout. Takes until round 7. So Logan Thompson saved the first 6. The 7th goes in. It's Tyler Johnson that gets the shootout victory for Chicago. They go to 28, 42, and 11. Vegas is officially eliminated at 42, 31, and 8. So your 3 stars are Tyler Johnson, Radish, and Lafferty. The shots in this one, 16-15 Chicago in the first, 11-9 Chicago in the second, 14-8 Vegas in the third. In the overtime, Chicago outshoots them 5-2. Both teams had 40 shots. Power plays, Vegas 0 for 1, Chicago 0 for 2. The hits 24-22 Vegas. Thompson 37 saves on 40 shots. Lankinen, exact same stat line, 37 saves on 40 shots. So if you're looking for a positive for Vegas, I think Logan Thompson's shown that he is an option for them next year. And I expect them to use that. Now, whether that's as a 1B, maybe they see him as a starter, we will find out. I think for Vegas, I think they need to find a way to get some more youth into their lineup and just have a good mix and hope that they don't have all the injuries they had. But it was pointed out tonight that they had a pretty healthy lineup. Basically, all their big star players were in there. I would point out that I don't think these guys are all 100%. And so when they play their final game, we'll see how many of them are actually playing and how many of them sit out that final game. Because I really don't think Stone's been right the whole time. And I haven't seen anything in even the recent games. I know he got an assist in the last game, but it's just Stone's one of the best two-way forwards in the game. He really clearly is not himself right now. But that being said, let's talk about how Dallas, well, they blew it, right? I mean, they clinched, but they blew it at the same time. Now, it didn't matter. They could have lost in regulation. With Vegas not winning this one, it didn't matter. But still, it's Setri versus Wedgwood. Early jump for the Coyotes. Yannick has a net drive that saved. Wedgwood was the early story. And then Hakanpää scores on the first shot from Lindell and Sagan at 4:42. Not a great goal. Shots are 5-1 for the Coyotes at 7.5 minutes. The Stars press at 9 minutes. Don't get a lot of shots out of it. Schmaltz has a rush chance that's saved. Coyotes are controlling most of this, but then Dallas scores again. It's Sagan from Robertson and Pavelski at 13:48, and that was the fourth shot of the game. So 2 out of 4 have gone in. Neither of them were great. And then Setri got better. Setri ends up having arguably the best game he's played in his National Hockey League career, as short as it is at this point. Coyotes try to answer. They had 10 shots to that point in the game to just the 4 for Dallas. Stars press with 4.5 minutes left. The Coyotes get a power play. That was killed off. Things get pushy in the final minute. The Stars get a power play. Gurianov has a rush chance that's held. And we go to the second period. So the rest of the power play is killed off. The Stars get another. And then for 1 minute and 5 seconds, it's a 5-on-3. And they score on the 5-on-3. It's Heiskanen from Klingberg and Pavelski at 3 minutes. That's only their 11th shot of the game. Cool. Now the Heiskanen shot, he wired it top shelf. But, so they killed off the 5-on-4, but there's another 5-on-3 goal, and 5-on-3 was prominent in this one, too. So, Sagan had a rush chance that was saved. The Stars press at 9 minutes. Harley ends up hitting the post. I'm like, all right, so we're good. There were a lot of posts for Dallas tonight, at least it felt like it. Glendenning's denied and close. Gurianov has a fast break that's saved. The Stars get a power play with 4 minutes left. It's unsuccessful. Then there's a press by the Stars in the final minute. So it's 3-0 going into the third. And all I could think was, I haven't had a laugher. Dallas always makes it tough on themselves. And maybe I have been too tough on this team. Maybe they're going to win this one 4-5-0. This should be fun. So Ben's denied on a 2-on-1 in the third period. Roussel then had a chance that was saved. Hintz rifles one high. And then at 3:43, it's Stralman. He scores from Schmaltz and Hayden. The Coyotes press for another. Good prevent defense by the Stars. Put that right up there like this. So prevent defense, of course, in football is how you lose. Prevent defense prevents victories. And it's true. I love that quote from John Madden, and it's one of my favorites. There's nothing more frustrating when you see a team, rather than attacking and playing the way they did to get the lead, they just sit back. And so Dallas, every time they got the puck, they just handed it back. They'd throw it out center. There was one play where I'm trying to think of which Stars player it was, but he's going off the ice, and rather than trying to get it down to the other end, into the Coyotes' end, he just threw it across the middle of the ice, and it goes right to the Coyotes player, and then he leaves the ice. And I'm like, okay, what are you guys doing? So this is the problem with prevent defense, is that Gostisbehere scores at 7:20, and although that was one that may have been deflected, that goal may have changed. It might change. It's not a big deal. But that made it 3-2. Now that's when they were singing "I Got Friends in Low Places," so I think the crowd might have distracted them with all the singing. Maybe Wedgwood was singing along. Maybe don't sing that anymore. So the Coyotes look to tie it. The Stars call a timeout. Right move. Call a timeout. Get this all under control. Get it all figured out. No problem, right? So the shots are 6-2 for the Coyotes at the half. They get a power play with 9:34 left, and then it becomes a 5-on-3 for 1 minute and 8 seconds. Hey, it's another 5-on-3. And they score on it. Hayden ties the game from Kessel and Gostisbehere at 11:58. So there may have been some foul language from me at that point. They do kill off the 5-on-4, and then O'Brien nearly ends it in regulation. As two stars play Keystone Cops and collide and fall down, so he has a clear path to the net while Benny Hill music's going through my head. And so we go to overtime. So they clinched. They clinch a playoff spot. And I know Dallas fans keep saying, you're too hard on them. Look, here's the truth. People know I cheer for Dallas, Vancouver, and Boston. I could be hard on them because people know I cheer for them. If I'm hard on other teams, I immediately get labeled a hater. I get told that I'm not in any place to criticize them because look at your team. So I am a little bit more critical because I can be. But with Dallas, holy Lord, you had a 3-0 lead going into the third at home against the Coyotes. So overtime, the Stars control it. Klingberg has a rush chance that's held, and then Arizona gets the puck and it goes in the net, because of course it does. Boyd scores from Capobianco and Hayden at 1:43. The Coyotes win 4-3 in overtime. They go to 24, 50, and 7. Dallas clinches. Yay! Overtime loss makes them 45, 30, and 6, so they pull 1 point ahead of Nashville. This is why when people said, well, Nashville's got a tougher schedule, so Dallas should finish with that first wild card. I keep saying it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the team's record is because teams are going to be resting players. So it doesn't matter. And so your 3 stars are Gostisbehere, Sagan, and Hayton. Your shots are 14-7 Arizona in the first, 18-7 Dallas in the second when I felt good, and then in the third, 15-3 Arizona. That's what a prevent defense does. And in the overtime, both teams had 1 shot. So yeah, final shots are 37-29 for the Coyotes. Power plays, Arizona 1 for 3, Dallas 1 for 4. The hits, 20-19 for Dallas. Setri ends up with 26 saves on 29 shots. That's not bad. And Wedgwood saved 33 out of 37. I thought he played well. I did. But again, my concern is now Dallas is clinched and they could get swept out of the playoffs. I want to be wrong. I do. But when you lose the 3-0 lead at home in a game that you need to win to get in, well, you don't need to win, but you should be coming out... Fine, it's fine. When they were flat after the timeout, I knew there was trouble. Usually when a team calls a timeout, they turn it around. They didn't. So anyways, all right, moving along. So the final game of the night is LA in against Seattle. LA rested pretty much everybody, which was great for Gabe Vilardi. This was a chance for Gabe Vilardi. People know I'm a fan of Gabe Vilardi, so he had a good night. So it's Quick versus Grubauer. They're wearing the Cylon helmets, even though they're on the road. Good for them, wearing the throwback, modernized version of their late 80s, early 90s jerseys. I'd like to see one of those in black, thank you. Kupari has a rush chance that's saved. The shots, though, are 2-1 for Seattle at 3.5 minutes. Seattle played well. Kuhlman has a fast break this denied. The Kings get a power play. That was killed off. So Seattle gets a power play after that. That's killed off as well. Geeky's denied in close. The Kings were stuck on 1 shot for quite a while in that period. Seattle presses with 6.5 minutes left. Athanasiou fires wide on a rush opportunity, and then Chalowski has a shot that's tipped wide. But before the period's out, McCann adds to his career best season goal-scoring wise from Gord at 18:59. It's 1-0 after 1. Early in the second at 2:24, it's Donato. He scores on a net drive from Eberle and Soucy. So all of a sudden, it's 2-0 Seattle. They're playing Nirvana and singing Let's Go Kraken, all that fun stuff. Lizotte fires high on a rush. The shots are 8-5 for the Kings at 9.5 minutes. And eventually they get on the board at 10-11. It's Gabe Vilardi from Lizotte and Elias Anderson. Anderson had a good game too. Seattle tries to answer, but at 13:41, LA ties it. That's Danault from Arvidsson and Athanasiou. It does not stay tied for long, but it was a great pass from behind the net by Arvidsson, and then Danault buries it. So he's adding to a career high in goals as well. But Eberle would give Seattle back the lead. He scores from Beniers and Donato at 14:29. Donato then had a net feed that was blocked, but at 17:15, LA ties it again. It's more from Roy and Vilardi. So Vilardi with another point. Seattle gets a power play at the 18:12 mark, so that rolls over a bit into the third period. Pretty easy to kill that final 12 seconds if you're LA. And then Elias Anderson gets his first goal of the season. No better time than now, right? From Lemieux at 2:39. Dursey then scored on the next shift, but it was goalie interference. And I will give Jim Fox full credit on this. He called it right away. When they showed the replay, he said, you know what? Seattle can challenge this, and it's probably goalie interference. Now, I'm not going to say that Jim Fox might be saying that because they've already clinched third spot. We already know where they're finishing. but it might play a little bit of a role in that. Kind of takes the emotion out of it and go, go ahead, challenge it, guys. Go for it. So they challenge it. It comes off the board. Shots are 8-6 for the Kraken at 7 minutes. Seattle has a rush that ends up going offside. Gord was not happy. Gord wasn't happy because the referee did, or the linesman didn't blow the linesman didn't blow the whistle early enough. Anyways, so you guys know what I'm talking about. No. All right, no. All right. Seriously, I'm glad nobody watches this because none of these games really ended up mattering a whole lot other than this and this. So people have already left this video. They're gone. They're all gone. Nobody wants to know what happened with LA and Seattle. So, 8:52 left. Seattle gets a power play. It's a 4-minute power play. And then they get a minute and 19 seconds of 5-on-3 because everybody gets 5-on-3s now. And it's 6:10 left. So there's a post for Sprong, but LA kills it off. So unlike the other games where the 5-on-3s end up working, in this game it doesn't. So there's a press by Seattle with 3 minutes left. With 2:26 left, they pull the goaltender. That allows LA to hit the empty net at 18:54. It's Athanasiou from Velarde and Anderson. So LA wins this one 5-3. They go to 44, 27, and 10. Seattle 26, 48, and 6. It was an entertaining game for them. What surprised me is the 3 stars, Donato, Eberle, and Velarde. They lost by 2, and 2 of the 3 stars were Seattle. So I checked. I thought, well, if it's their last home game, it's not. They have one more home game. So that I thought was weird because Anderson with 3 points, you would think he'd be one of the stars. But no. But I'm glad Velarde's in there. 3rd star, and they won the game 5-3. Okie doke. So the shots 12-2 for Seattle in the first. 17-11 LA in the second, and then 17-9 Seattle in the third. Final shots 40-28 for Seattle. Power plays, LA 0 for 1, Seattle 0 for 5. So that really hurt them. Your hits are 13-12 for LA. Quick, 37 saves on 40 shots. Grubauer, 23 saves on 27 shots. Season's winding down. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. And I'm glad the 2 of the teams I cheer for are in the playoffs. I don't think they're going far, but hey, I want to be wrong. I will be very happy if I'm wrong. Quite happy. Thank you guys again for all your support. I'll talk to you guys soon.